Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM.
Welcome back, everyone, to Real News Uncensored. We're finally back. We will have 2 more transmissions, including this one, and then we'll be back to our regular scheduled program on line 90.7 FM, and you can tune in there, line 90.7 FM or theline.fm.com for that. But subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned up to that. Tuned up, that was the weirdest way I've ever said that. Stay tuned
That was
in.
pretty weird, dude. Pretty weird, dude.
Dude,
No.
the 2-week vacation, it's hit me. Or it's I've only had like a 2-week break from school, so I'm going to take a little bit longer to recover here till we go back to that again. But, yeah, so again, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. That way you can always stay up to date. New content comes every week. Every week's a new video. No matter what happens, we're always giving you new stuff to enjoy. So with that, we shall talk about probably for the... actually, we might be talking about this again at some point, but because there might be new information, but hopefully this is the last what I've talked about. This is Jeffrey Epstein is dead. He found dead in his jail cell. Oh, yeah, I know.
Get out of here. Are you serious?
See, I didn't have self-service for days, and yet I still knew about this. I don't think anybody... Is this new? This is one of those news stories that everybody knows.
New information that we're just bringing to the forefront. This is amazing. Now,
man,
I'm kidding.
Hey, our viewers love it when it comes from us.
Was he suicided by Hillary Clinton?
We're not going to discuss that on here because we do not want to be in any way found in a gym or a jail cell or wherever, just mysteriously. Accidents, they happen. And I mean,
maybe he strangled himself, maybe, while he was on suicide watch.
Yeah, he strangled himself with somebody else's hands. That's what...
Well, the facts that we know is that the autopsy found that he broke bones in his neck, such as the, I think it's the hyoid bones, how you say it. And basically, that means it could be a suicide or a strangulation, but it's more common to be a strangulation. So a homicide then. I mean...
Well, my question with that is, he was on suicide watch.
Yes.
And, when you're in prison like that, they take away your shoelaces.
Yep.
So how would he go and hang himself?
He did it with bed sheets, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, something seems a little bit off with that.
But I heard that the bed sheets in jails are like paper, so that you can't do that. So he had to work a deal with to sneak something in. Now, they have ruled it a suicide by hanging out with a medical examiner, but let's put the conspiracies aside for a second. Because look, there definitely is a lot to consider with those. There's definitely possibilities with those. But there is also the possibility that the prison was extremely incompetent, which is very possible. Anybody who's worked for a company will know. And number 2, that somebody could have seen what was about to happen. Him making deals to get the bed sheets, the thicker bed sheets, him setting this whole thing up, his roommate leaving. And they could have turned a blind eye. They could have. But at the same time, is he the type of person to commit suicide? Or is he the type of person that would say, I've bought myself out of jail before, I can do it again. What? I mean, if I've done it once, I can do it again.
Yeah, why would he kill himself now? Like, he probably would have been a pretty sweetheart deal with the amount of people that he knew. Like, Bill Clinton, he knew some people from the royal family. And now he's dead. All that we have now is whatever notes he had back home, and those are probably gone by now. There's probably a Hillary Clinton branded helicopter going by there and leaving on the Epstein pedophile island.
Well, you're not far off on what actually happened, because there's a drone that flew over the island and they checked, the inside of like one of the buildings, and they said that important electronic components had been removed before the FBI raid.
It's almost like they wanted this to be a cover up. Something's a little bit fishy here, and that's sad too, because I'm happy that he's dead, but I'm also I'm happy that he's in hell or wherever people like him go.
That's too nice for him.
But on the other hand, he had a lot of information on a lot of people who are in politics, a lot of people who are in the royal family. all these sort of connected people,
Yeah.
and they're going to walk away scot-free. No one's going to know what happened except for themselves and probably Hillary Clinton or
Yeah.
whoever was in front of us. Maybe it's the Queen. Maybe the Queen did it. Who knows?
I mean, look, this is one of those things. I think it's like the Las Vegas shooting after that, and then after this, everyone became a conspiracy theorist because it's just it's too like fishy. I mean, look, the more, I guess you could say socially acceptable explanations of incompetency or somebody letting it happen in prison, it's possible. I want to make that clear. It is possible. But what's also really possible is somebody wanting to take him out. Because everybody hates this guy. Everybody. Is there anybody that really likes him?
Yeah, but the thing is, people, they would want to keep him alive because he knows people. He knew, like, he would put other people, he'd bring other people down. That's
Yeah,
the
which
thing.
is why they would want to take him out.
Yeah, and that's why I think, he was taken out. Like, this is, and the media will call this a conspiracy theory. And this is why we need people like Alex Jones, because for all the shit that he says, all the fake news, all the random stuff he picks from 4 and 8chan, stuff like this. And I'm sure, like, I haven't listened to him in a while, but I'm sure he's probably going off about this, and he is absolutely right. Whatever the government story is on this, I don't trust it. It's gonna be like that Las Vegas shooting where they just kept making up stuff, and the only thing that ended up being found out was, he was there and he shot up those people. They had no idea his motivation. There's just too much things around there, and I don't like, honestly, this is why I don't trust the government that much. Things like this,
Yeah.
It makes it really hard to trust the government when they say people like him killed himself, or that the guy who shut up that music festival, he just did it because he was crazy. Like,
No, he just did it because he didn't like country music.
You don't bring 30 guns.
Yeah. I think he was an arms dealer.
Yeah, he was an arm. Like, you don't make money like that off of video gambling. Like, you can't make any money off that. Maybe if you're like one in a million people with like regular blackjack, but not in slots. You don't become a millionaire from that.
No, because they rigged those, so you don't win.
They're like, at least with like blackjack or like, some of these other, like, or poker, there is an element of skill in those. But for stuff like this, there is no skill. Like, this is why we need people like Alex Jones who actually talk about things.
Yeah, because he provides a space to talk about things that nobody else is willing to talk about. And even if he's wrong, he just makes you think.
And that's why we need places like 8chan, because you can't talk about this on Facebook. You can't talk about like things like this on Instagram because it runs afoul of their terms of service. Because the only people they care about is their advertisers, and they care about the politicians who let them be and sell your data for pennies on the dollar. And that's who they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about the public, the victims of these tragedies. They won't let people talk because it looks bad on them. Because the same people who are serviced by Jeffrey Epstein, they're the same people who own these companies. They're the same people who don't want bad stuff going out about this. They don't want conspiracy theories because in 9 out of 10 times it probably involves them or their friends or family.
Yeah. Who do you think took out Epstein, Phil?
I was thinking about this, and I'm like, this is somebody that has to be it has to be a Democrat. It has to be a liberal or a Democrat or something lines. Because I'm like, and I'm like, all of this information has gone out pretty much when Trump took office, right? Trump took office. We look how much stuff we found out since we've taken office about all these shady people, the shady media, all of this stuff. And I gotta say, but on a side note, Mike Cernovich, man, what awesome reporting that was.
He was the one that really took this guy down. Let's not forget that.
He took the bull by the horns and drove him. Like, that was like, wow.
For it because he's been unpersoned.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, for a little tease for our listeners that are still listening right now, we might be able to get him on the show quite soon. I'll just leave that out there. No guarantees yet, but we're gonna look into it because he needs to be. He's the one that the media should be interviewing, but they're not. So we're gonna have to do it for them. We're gonna have to do the media's job again.
We love to be see the thing is we love being that person, right? Or that
Mm-hmm.
those people that are like, oh, nobody wants to talk to him. I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
Let's talk to him right now.
Yeah, if they're
I
not talking to somebody, they're probably interesting.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I was surprised that like more people weren't talking to Milo when they and so we were like, well, shoot,
Let's
let's
try
get
it.
him on, right? Let's try it. Like, look, because guaranteed, like even, and I was always like, I was taught at a young age, run toward what everybody else is running away from,
Mm,
because there's probably some pretty awesome shit at the other end of what everybody else is running away from, and I mean, in a way it's right, because like nothing's ever as good, nothing's ever as good as it seems, and
mm.
nothing is ever as bad as it seems. So it's like when somebody's running from something, it's it can't be that boring, like the Necronomicon monster coming to harvest everyone.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I
you know,
think
the ironic thing is too, they'll interview people like they interview Richard Spence like 50,000 times, but they refuse to interview people like Milo and Mike Cernovich.
And CNN put him
Very,
on as a contributor. A contributor.
I'm not gonna lie.
very telling.
Look, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I would have him on this show. If I had a chance to put him on this show, I would fucking do it. And even though he's banned from Penn State or whatever,
Mm.
I would do it because at least we could like it
Oh
would at
yeah,
least
no,
be
see,
it would be an interesting interview.
I'm
Tell me it
interested.
wouldn't be an interesting. Tell me it
I'm
wouldn't be interesting.
interesting. I'm interested. I would be interested in interviewing people. I'm interested in comment. I'm interested in interviewing criminals. Like any sort of crazy people out there. Like who's that guy on Sirius FM that's keeping the whole damn thing afloat? The
Oh,
comedian.
Howard Stern.
Yeah. Like see, he'll do shit like that, and that's the thing I respected about him. Like
Mm.
he'll fuck with people. He'll get some crazy people on there though, and that's what makes it interesting. Like no one cares if you like interview Ben Shapiro because it's been done a million times. Everyone knows what he has to say. Everyone knows his opinions. It's pretty milk toast. Might trigger a couple like super hard lefties, but that's about it. But like, no one goes and interviews like the really strange French people. And that's how you get these people out there. That's how you get people to, kind of look like, hey, who's this guy? Why does this person feel the way he does? Like
Well,
I wonder.
they like
I
to go
wonder.
under the rug, you know?
I wonder. I wonder as we start doing these interviews again, how long until we get kicked off the radio?
Oh, let's start the
Well,
clock.
make sure that you don't make any sound effects.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's that
We
too.
have
But
learned
no,
from some mistakes, but I will
but
guarantee you we will make
barring,
new ones.
yeah, we're probably but barring the sound effects, Sean, barring that, no, but I'm saying okay, so we're in this. We're in this silencing culture right now, right? We really are with like the media and everything else, and as 2020 rolls around, right? Because 2020 is rolling like getting closer by the day. What are the chances when because we're not going to stop providing content. Like we're going to keep it one way or another. We're going to keep coming. Um, how long before the radio state like maybe pressure from up top goes, we might want to
Well, I think they will have to find a reason to do it, and it'll be it'll be a minor screw up, like someone
Yep.
says a bad word, and then they will escalate to the point where it's like, you just killed their baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what's going to be. They're going to go and take a minor infraction,
Yep.
and then make it a big deal. It's like how they threw MLK in jail for like going 1 mile over the speed limit, something stupid like that, and that'll be what does us in most likely.
Mm-hmm.
It almost did. It almost did. Because that incident was nothing. I did nothing wrong. It's just everybody interpreted it the wrong way, except people that know me and know who I am. But at the same time, it's always they're always looking for that something to get you on, and I think that's where you almost, on the one hand, you kind of can't care what you say, but on the other hand, you don't want to give them ammo. So it's like a fine line, but at the same time, I'm glad we got past that because the opportunities we've had later have been amazing. I mean, imagine we didn't do what we did do to recover from that. We wouldn't be here right now. I mean, well, we would be, but we wouldn't be the same level that we're at now. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, exciting stuff is going to be happening this semester, so stay tuned, everyone, because we're going to really the whole thing's just going to be at another level. It's just going to be at the moon. It's going to be totally out there. It's going to be a rocket ship. It's not going to be, we're going to go so big that you're going to just be like shocked that this is a college radio station. Because that sounds so almost amateurish, but it's going to be just a whole different setup. But same great host. That's right, that 2-week vacation, man. I need more of it.
Right?
The same host, same chemistry, same talent, same passion that we have, but it's just sort of like exploding now. And it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But, you know what else is beautiful? I always love my doing these segues this way. Israel has blocked Rashid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar from entering the country, which...
Fuck yeah!
...is hilarious. Can I say how hilarious this is? Because
Thank
now...
God. Fuck them.
Good. I hate those two politicians. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Israel. You know, that must have killed my uncle when he was on the USS Liberty. But yeah, no, it's pretty funny though, just seeing those two like crybabies. Like, what did they expect to happen? Really, I think they knew what was going to happen going in. They just keep like saying that doesn't have a right to exist. Why would they let him in there?
Hey, do you have that? Sean, do you have the
tweet?
The tweet?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah,
because I was dying.
Because they were making such a big deal out of it. Like Tlaib and Omar were making such a big deal about being denied or whatever, and then fucking Donald Trump just outed them on Twitter. This is great. That was quality social media.
Oh, that's one of his like top tweets of all time. Top tweets. It's the funniest thing you will hear today. So I'll read it off to anybody who hasn't seen it yet. Because if you haven't, still check it out, like and retweet, because it's just so funny. He said, quote, Representative Tlaib wrote a letter to Israeli officials desperately wanting to visit her grandmother. Permission was quickly granted, whereupon Tlaib obnoxiously turned down the approval. A complete setup. The only real winner here is Tlaib's grandmother. She doesn't have to see her now.
Oh my God,
that is so
funny.
That is so Trump too. Oh.
Hands down.
But like, yeah, but you knew, I mean, like we all knew because it's Tlaib and Omar. You knew this was going to be some grandstanding bullshit. Like you knew that none of this bullshit was genuine at all. Like, oh, wanting to visit Israel, like get the fuck out of here. Like, so seeing that, it was almost like, in a way, you saw it coming. You saw it coming to but I never expected Trump to lay it on, like lay that.
It was so good.
It was so savage. It was like, it was rich.
Yeah, when I saw it last night, I burst out laughing. I just couldn't control it. It was so funny. I mean, he is the funniest president we've ever had by far. Most entertaining by far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't top this. So when he's gone, it's going to be boring again, unless we get more interesting people into, which I hope we do. But what's genius about this is that he's been sort of framing these people as anti-Semitic. And that's a sticky thing on its own, because it kind of gets him out of that racist label that the left is trying to put on him. So it kind of turns it back on them and gets him out of that hole. But what's genius is that he unintentionally, I guess, let this happen, which is that Israel started paying attention, and they banned them. So now Israel is saying these people are anti-Semitic. You cannot deny these people are anti-Semitic now. How can you deny it? If Israel says, we don't want you, that is what's so great about this.
Yeah, and the responses have been classic too. Like from these fucking liberals too. They're like, oh, they hate Muslims. Like, really? How many Muslims live in Israel again? How many Muslims live in Israel? A fuck ton of them. Like, these people don't, like, I love seeing how crazy these fucking people get. And then who's the one Ayanna Presley or something. I'm really terrible with names. I apologize. Um, Versa Media Universe. Um,
Ooh,
uh,
could that be our new
yeah,
name? Versa
yeah,
Media Universe or Versa Universe.
right. The
We're
universe,
like
all
Marvel now.
the public out there. But yeah, no, but she was like, I'm calling it like I see it. Bigotry. I'm like, do you even know what the fuck bigotry even means?
No.
Like, they just no, these people are just shouting. These people are just shouting this fucked up shit at anything that they don't like. Anything that they don't like that doesn't go with their crazy opinions. They call it racist, homophobic, bigotry, uh Islamophobic. Like get the fuck out of here. When you look deep into the whole thing, you realize that none of these people are racist. None of these people are homophobic. None of these people are like, yeah, it's like you look at Trump and they're like, oh, he's a racist. What fucking racist hires Ben Carson as the HUD secretary? What racist um you know puts a whole fuck ton of black conservatives at the White House, right? What?
It's a true sign of white supremacy, if you ask
Well,
me.
Yeah, that's
Well,
like it's
here's
crazy.
here's the problem with all that stuff though. Like, no matter what Trump does,
Yeah.
they'll never stop calling him racist. It's like,
Mhm.
at what point is it just like, why does he even try anymore?
Well,
Like,
because the people in the middle
Yeah.
are very, like, goofy, to put mildly, or even bluntly, where they will, like, in any election flip one way or the other. So you gotta keep fighting,
Yeah.
or else you're gonna get
You-
buried.
That's true.
no
You
matter
have to
what Trump
keep.
does, CNN will always say that Trump is racist. Like, unless
Mhm.
there is some sort of law where that's put into place that basically says like you can't call someone racist unless they like actually do something racist.
Mhm.
They're not gonna they're not gonna stop.
Yeah.
That's
Unless
true.
But you
Trump
have
files
to
a
keep.
libel suit.
But yeah, and because of that though, you have to keep pointing it out.
Mm-hmm.
You every time somebody says, "Oh, he's a racist," you have to bust them out. You have to point them out and you have to expose them for the bullshit that they are, right?
Well, they get
You
away with
have
it.
to continue because if you don't, they're going to get away with it. And you give them an inch, they're going to take a fucking mile. So don't give them an inch. Just keep at it, keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it. And we ask that everybody else does the same because if you don't, they're going to get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Other thing too to note from this that nobody's talking about, but I think we're gonna be one of the first to point this out, is that there's one person that isn't banned that's from the squad. AOC.
Mhm.
Now, what is also happening through maybe unintentional or intentional actions by her? She's doing something here that she, I think, has realized over the past few weeks or the past few months that she has to start doing now, which is I am doing terrible this day. Oh my god. She is going to distance herself from the squad because she is realizing they are bad for her brand, they're tearing her down, she has higher aspirations, and she doesn't need them.
No
She
one's gonna. Yeah, she's trying. No one's gonna let her,
It's
and that
like Mean
includes
Girls
us.
in the White House.
yeah, it's like it is a little clique that she has to kind of break out of now.
Like, oh no, you're sinking with that shit.
Well,
You're little Miss AOC. You are sinking with that shit.
I think right now she's sinking with it, but she's climbing up the mast. You know, she's getting into the crow's nest as it's still sinking, and she's waiting till the elections come because I'm gonna make a prediction now. I think Ilhan Omar is probably gonna get voted out. Rashid Tlaib, I don't know her district, so I'm not gonna make a prediction on her, but I think you're gonna start seeing the squad either get voted out or become just totally disgraced. And so she can, once they get voted out, is when she can fully distance herself from them and be her own thing, which is what she should have been the whole time. But she needed allies, I guess, but she picked the wrong ones, that's for sure. So that's what you're going to start seeing now, is her more and more distancing herself from them. Nobody's talking about this, but it's almost the bigger story here, because this is longer term, and it'll be interesting to follow. because she's not going away. I don't think she's going anywhere. They're going to try and primary her in her district, but it's not going to work. She's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, the thing is, in New York, it's gonna be tough. It's tough to really get rid of like a liberal in New York. It's got to be
Yeah, but they
replaced by
want to get
something
rid
further
of her of
left.
another liberal or an
The one
establishment
thing,
liberal.
the one thing I do, you're still talking about AOC, right?
Yes.
So the one thing that could happen, is they redistrict her.
That is
That's the
very
one
possible
thing
too.
that could happen. Like,
Yes.
and that's probably the most likely scenario. Well, I mean, and so that puts her, if they redistrict her, that puts her up against somebody that is a little bit more established, that has a bit more of a following and has a little bit more of a more resources and a
I mean,
technical base.
it really wouldn't be hard to fight her though, because I mean, she destroyed like 50,000 jobs in New York City, or 25,000 with that whole Amazon.
It is, but it's not for an incumbent, because you're not gonna, like, there's a home field advantage there usually in politics when you're talking about trying to unseat an incumbent.
Yep.
But she's only been there for one term, and she isn't like really established there yet.
Oh, she's very established. She's
She's only been there for one term.
She's the most talked about person in politics other than Trump.
I know, but she's basically like who's that Alaskan senator?
Oh, Sarah Palin.
Yeah, she's basically the left Sarah Palin.
Well,
right
and
now.
even Sarah Palin's staying there a long time.
Oh yeah, because she like the thing with
It
Sarah Palin,
depends
the
on your
stuff
district.
they made up about her was false. But like with her, it's like, yeah, a bunch of shit's false, but a bunch of it's like true. It's a sad part.
The facts don't matter, unfortunately. And what matters is that the makeup of her district, her campaigning, her ground game is impressive. Her social media is top notch, AAA.
She lost 25,000 jobs, so that's hard to go and beat when you can say, hey, this person lost this many jobs. And Amazon pretty much flat out said that it was her who did it, and it's not that hard to go and make that conclusion.
Yeah, and that is where she did, I think, made a mistake, and that's her biggest issue. She makes these rookie mistakes, and if she can learn quickly, which I think she kind of can, I don't know if it's gonna be quick enough, then she'll survive. But it'll be interesting to see. I just wouldn't underestimate her by any means.
I mean, I don't think they would get rid of her because she's pretty like the Democrat base, like the party, unless like the establishment like really got upset with her. I don't think they're going to try to out primary her right now because she's good for the Democrats as a whole, not for the old party, but it's anti-Trump, so that's all they care about right now. But like, let's say a couple years down the line after Trump, like maybe not a couple years, like 4 years after he's gone, maybe they'll try to get her out of there with someone else.
I know the establishment hates her and wants to get rid of her, but I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. I just don't think so. I think she's got the right stuff going for her, in terms of skill set.
I don't think they have. I don't think they're willing to go and throw the ammo. That ammo towards like Republicans.
Yeah.
Then on their own.
Well,
they're not strong enough. The Democrat Party's not strong enough right now to really be affording to do all that.
No, but it's the sort of infighting that's happening with the Republicans like in 2016, but it's still kind of happening now. But they're going through that same crisis of old establishment versus new radical, I guess you could say, or new, on their side, socialist, and on our side, more nationalist, civic.
With Trump, he was more of a moderate than anything else. With her, she's super radical.
See, that's the thing that's interesting. Trump was radically moderate for what the conservative, state of it was. But with the Democrats, it's really weird because it's kind of a flip of that, where now they're going radically radical rather than radically moderate like he did. And I'm afraid that's going to be the face of them for, once the older generation dies out. I think that's going to be the face for a little bit. I think it'll be a short-term thing, but it'll be a long-term destruction.
Yeah, I think the problem is like you have all these people who are out of college, who are radicalized in college, who don't have jobs, and that creates this kind of situation where they're radical because they were taught to be radical.
Exactly, and that's what I'm afraid of, is because I don't think these people. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're definitely probably more in tune with this than me, but I don't think these millennials and even some Gen Zers that have been radicalized by college, I don't think when they hit the real world, they're changing their views. I don't think they're changing. I think they're even going
Mm,
more radical.
mm,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah, I
about that.
think.
I don't know. It depends. It depends. It really does. It depends because not everybody like because there is that like okay you start getting conditioned in college and you start thinking all this wild shit. If you end up in a job like politics or you end up in like a government job or you something like that, I think you're going to stay whatever craziness you're going to go. But if you have to work, if you have to get a job and then you start paying taxes and then you start feeling like having to live for yourself, it
But they're not living for
shit gets
themselves.
tuned. Yeah, the tune starts changing real quick. For
I would
some of these
think
guys,
it
not
should.
everybody, but enough of people. Like,
Well, the problem is, like, a lot of these people aren't finding real jobs yet, and
Yes.
that because they
uh,
took these bullshit degrees like medieval
Mm-hmm.
studies, like
Who would take a
feminist
degree
theory.
like that?
I don't
God,
know.
I know, right?
But no, like they take these degrees, like, and they end up like working, doing like working the gig economy, and this whole generation, like it's gonna be marred by that. The next generation, a lot of them will just either not go to college or they'll go and take degrees that aren't shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for right now, these people are kind of be like permanently put in this position until they can get an actual job in the field, like away from people who are all radical socialists. And I think that's going to be our generation's biggest downfall. It's like, we made a lot of mistakes because our parents didn't teach us. The next
Yeah.
generation, maybe their parents will teach them, hey, don't take this degree. I took this medieval studies degree, and look what it did for me. Doing a whole lot of nothing.
Sound a lot of cocoa knives.
Well, I mean, and some of these people, and you got to figure it. Like, you kind of got to look at the broader picture too. Like, how many of these pieces of shit actually have parents that are like well off? That like, you know, you want to just get a bullshit degree, that's fine. You can come work at my car lot or something like that or whatever. Like I know for me, I'm not blessed. I wasn't blessed with good finances. Like I had to join the military right out of high school. Like just to even be in this scene, right? And and so I just I don't think that like eh, the- I don't think that like the college thing is like I think people are starting to get that college is starting to lose its value. It is. And people are starting to realize that like oh you maybe you don't need college. I was talking to my one of my relatives who's on the board for a for a trade school, and they were saying that there was a for $1,500 you could go you could take a welding course and you're guaranteed a job. Like you're guaranteed a job even if you have a felony. Like look, there's stuff out there that I you
Well, that's great for
people
the
have,
people in that skill set, but what about people that want to be in business? People that want to be in advertising like me, or people that want to be in technology divisions?
It's the market. You have to go with the market. Like
yeah.
you could probably do a lot of jobs out there. Doesn't mean that
There's
like,
not a there's an endless supply of people in business and advertising and shit. How many people are fucking welding in this country? Not a whole
Well, but
lot.
aren't those going to be
Like if you can
replaced
get
by
a job,
robots?
they've been saying that for years, but they're
they've
still
been saying,
there.
yeah, no, because
And for
there's a
$1,500, that's like next to nothing.
yeah, and you're guaranteed a job, a good paying job.
For now. I mean,
Yeah.
the
For how
issue
many years?
the issue I also see is that I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say we're gonna go work for I guess we'll use advertising. Let's use advertising. I'm gonna go work for a company for advertising.
Hmm.
I have my college degree. I go in and I give my resume. Now, let's say there's a guy next to me that goes in. He gives his resume too. He has the exact same qualifications as me in terms of skill set, let's say, with extracurricular activities, all kinds of stuff. But what's he missing? He's missing the college degree on there. And let's say he's also missing internships, because to be fair, college kind of opens that door to that. But if the employer has to decide which resume I'm going to keep here, which one I'm going to throw in the trash, I think the employer is going to say, I'm going to trust the guy from college over the guy that hasn't gone to college, because it's more likely to be a better employee for me.
Yeah, but they won't do that
Wow.
for a welding job.
I
They'll
know.
be like,
What I'm
"You got a
saying
degree and
is,
you're a welder?"
what about
Nope,
things
can't
that
go that
aren't
far.
welding? What about
Well,
things?
Well, you're talking about like white
let's be
collar
real.
jobs, and that's different. White
Well,
collar
let's
is different than blue collar.
let's be real. You're a straight white man, so you're probably not. You're probably losing out to somebody.
I'm trying to be optimistic here. I'm actually probably losing out to women, because women dominate my field.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
no,
I
no,
mean,
you actually want if there's a significantly more amount of women in your field, then you'll actually do slightly better.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, communications is like 60% women. I think
so you'll probably
advertising's up.
actually do better in that
Yeah.
degree. But if you're in like engineering or IT, then the women would be more likely.
Mm,
Well, if you were a male teacher, you'd actually do better because there's not that many male teachers.
yeah. Yeah, my point is that I don't think college will ever be eradicated. I think it will lose some value in some fields, but I still think they have a very strong hold of things, and for a very long time.
Well, I think for now, yes, but like college wasn't the norm forever. For certain degrees, yes, it will always be there for like a doctor or a lawyer, engineer, yes. But for other things, they could be fixed up by associate degrees, by trade schools, like tons of other stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like cybersecurity, like I work in that field, they're just starting now where they're getting degrees, like, or not degrees, like to get associate's degree out of it. Those people, like, they can do well too. I knew someone who did that, and they won't start out getting as much as you, but give them enough time in the field, and they will. Then they can always get college later. Like, that's always an option. You don't have to do college right after high school.
yeah. There's always going to be and there's always going to be a need for trades. Always going to be a need for trades.
Oh, a new challenger approaches.
Welcome.
Well, welcome to the show.
Leslie, say hi.
What was
Well,
that?
hi back. She's saying hi.
Hi.
Yeah, but now there's like blue collar, like that's the thing. Like, maybe we'll change what it means to be blue in the future, like in the way far future. But honestly, I think people are making this deal, like with automation, a lot bigger deal than actually is. Right now. What we have in terms of automation, it's not like it's not like the Matrix. Machine learning, like machine learning, is not what it is over here. Like, it's not what is in the movie. AI doesn't exist, like, to the point that it's talked about in science fiction. It's a joke right now. It quote unquote learns like very specific things in like a very specific circumstance, and it breaks all the time too. Like, it does not make decisions truly by itself like what we think it does.
Not yet.
Yeah, but that could be in the next 50 years. We don't know.
I know, but I still think it's an inevitable future.
Yeah, it could be an inevitable future 1,000 years from now. Like, the computers have slowed down a whole lot.
Oh,
Since,
yeah.
like, back in the day, like every 3 years, your computer was completely obsolete. Now I have a computer from like 2012 and it's still running shit just fine. That would be unheard of in like the early 2000s or the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they used to have, I don't know if it was Moore's law, but the one that was like every like 2 or 3 years, the processing speeds would like double. Like that's gone out the wayside. It's completely non-existent now. The whole reason that we're doing this cloud stuff is because regular computers just can't do it. So now we just have these server farms and we outsource.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel that a lot of this stuff is caused by, like, I don't want to say incels, but just these like, college students who take bullshit degrees, who end up feeling despair because they took a bullshit degree and it's not in the 50s, and they're raised by boomers and zoomers, and or not zoomers, boomers and like Gen Xers who have no idea. because back in their day, college, you could have a degree in like, cuckold studies, and you could get a job. You could get a degree. Nowadays, everyone has a degree in some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a degree in like a specific like variety of bullshit, you're not really like one of the few good ones. Then you're not really going to go too far. You're going to be competing against like 100,000 people who are probably more qualified than you, have better GPAs than you, and will probably work for less than you. But once you get established in the field, you're good to go. That's the thing. Once you get that lucky break, you go for it. You go to work every day with a smile on your face. Doesn't matter how much or how little money you're making, as long as you can keep above water. Just go with a smile on your face, work there a few years, and you can like the second job's always easier to find than the first.
Mm-hmm.
Like your first job, preferably an internship, because if you don't get your foot in the door, like at an intern, it's gonna be real tough. Like, trust me, I know people out there who have actual good degrees and they've had problems finding jobs. You need to do something with that. You need to get an internship.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest, challenge right now, because that's a big key you need, and it's hard to fit in now because of my weird. I mean, I can get it after I graduate, I guess, but like I'm in a weird spot where I had to take. I know
Be
that's
careful with that.
well the thing.
You have a hard time because a lot of companies for people who are like still going to school to get an internship done.
I know, it's just the problem is I had to go do classes over the summer, so it's like, I mean, it kind of, in one way, it helped me, but in another, hurt me.
See what you can do. You could always go to grad school.
Yeah, that's not going to do me any good.
It might. Like that's what a lot of people. Like I know a lot of people who do that because a grad degree is like what a regular degree used to be, but then you're spending an even more inordinate amount of money in grad school. But
it's a scam. Grad school is a scam, unless
I've seen that it works out for some people.
It's just about more money, more money.
No, trust me. Depending on what your degree is, it's very much looked up on. Like if you want to become a manager, getting an MBA is very helpful. I've seen people who aren't managers get MBAs, or who aren't MBAs get manager positions, but it's a lot easier to do it if you have an MBA. And if you can't find a job right after graduation, you have the funds, I would absolutely go for it.
In relation to working class people and those sort of things, one thing that Ben Shapiro said over the weekend that was creating a firestorm on Twitter, and rightfully says, he said, quote, "If you had to work more than one job to have a roof over your head or food on the table, you probably shouldn't have taken that job that's not paying you enough. That'd be a you problem," unquote. And I immediately thought, right when I read this, even if he's right, that's still a totally out of touch, elitist, snobbish thing to say. Because if you talk to people that have multiple jobs, which I have, and everybody should, to understand where they're coming from, there are a lot of factors at play. There's cost of living, there's their lack of education. They might not have gone to college, they might not have been able to go to high school or finish high school. There's a lot of reasons, and it's not always their fault. And
maybe they want to just do better for themselves too. Like
yeah, maybe they have different lifestyle choices.
If you have one job, you're just barely going by. Two jobs make things be good for you. Some people have kids.
And this is like, and the first thing that I thought of when I saw the quote, other than "geez, what an asshole," was okay. So what happens if you just come up from shitty, unfortunate circumstances,
exactly.
Right? Like you're gonna have to work a couple of jobs just to kind of make ends meet. What if you're young? They might not. You might have to work a couple less than desirable jobs just to kind of, keep the whole thing afloat. And it's like when you got Ben Shapiro, like, he came from pretty good upbringing. Like his freaking, what was it, a cousin or something like that? A sister or a cousin or something like that was fucking Matilda. Like, come on, get the fuck you.
Wait, she was Matilda, or she was?
No, she was Matilda. You remember the movie Matilda?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
You remember Miss Doubtfire?
That movie is
You
saying
remember
how
Miss
much
Doubtfire?
Ben
Yes,
Shapiro
yes.
in there.
You remember the movie Miss Doubtfire?
Mhm.
She was the youngest. Ben Shapiro's cousin was the youngest chick, the youngest child of the family, right?
Oh,
And
Oh my
that
wow.
god! I'm just
and
picturing
Mrs.
like
Doubtfire.
Matilda using her magic arm.
Yeah, that was Ben Shapiro. She was related to Ben Shapiro, right? Tell me that like no, you came from upbringings. You had like you had a pretty good life. You had a pretty good upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
You went to UCLA, you went to Harvard, you did good, right? You did good for yourself, and you came from a good upbringing, right? It's hypocritical to like, it's hypocrisy to say, oh, well, it's a you problem. You have a couple jobs. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. If you like you don't understand. Like, this is one of those things that like and it's hard, and you want it, you like conservatives. There's a lot of modern and newer conservatives that fucking hate this shit.
Mm-hmm.
That just absolutely hate this shit. Like
I can't stand Ben Shapiro. He is the like shithole like creator. He is like like every negative stereotype of Republicans you can probably just trace to Ben Shapiro.
Oh, he's disgusting.
well, I mean he's a establishment shill. He
Mhm.
got, and even with Daily Wire, right? Even with that
Yeah.
fucking Daily Wire, he got money he got billionaire funding to start up the freaking Daily Wire. And that is, like you made something because you had a good upbringing. Like, you were established, you had the ability to create something of yourself because you had what a lot of people didn't have. Like, and so it's like, you can't, oh, what an asshole. God, I hate that shit.
I know.
Well, see, I don't see how people can defend him for stuff like that. Like,
we
you
knew
know,
people that were. We have people that are defending him.
yeah, the same people who work at Cutco.
Coincidence?
Yeah, you know, these people who can sell like $500 knives to people. You know, everyone just has a $100 steak knife lying around. You know, they just carry it around with them in a little sheath, like some like ninja of steak cutting, just bring it around to the family dinner table. Like, oh, you guys have that poor Walmart steak knife. Oh, I got this $500 this $500 Super Cutco Cut-O-Matic steak knife, and I spent my kid's college fund on it. But no, I didn't, because I'm actually rich. You know, this is just what normal people spend money on.
And the worst part, as far as I'm concerned anyway, of course, a lot of people probably disagree with me, but whatever. And the worst part about all of this is you made me agree with a fucking liberal, okay? That pisses me off even worse, right? The liberals are saying you're an asshole for making that quote, and I fucking agree with them. How fucked up is that? You made me agree with these fucking progressives. Fuck you, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I agree. I hate agreeing with those people.
That may be the greatest
sometimes
sin.
right. Like, here's the thing: the problem with this sort of dual party system is you kind of like cut the population in half, and most people have some things that they agree with the left, and some things they agree with the stuff on the right with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem in a dual party system, because in reality we should have like 6 parties, maybe even 10 parties. But because the way that America was founded, where we had this first past of the post system, it really only makes it 2 parties are feasible. That's, if there's one thing could change about America, that'd probably be part of it. That'd probably be one of those things.
Okay, so everybody, well, the Penn State listeners anyway, they like football, right? Football is a big deal. Let's say, let's say this political game is a football game with Republicans and Democrats. I try not to envision it, but let's try to, let's try to anyway. What Ben Shapiro did is the equivalent of a fucking pick six, right? You gave him one. He gave him a fucking touchdown, right? He gave the other team a touchdown with that stupid fucking quote.
Yeah, and I think. See, what you're seeing a divide now is more the working class, middle class, average blue collar, even some white collar people are a part of the new right. Ben Shapiro represents the old establishment right. We are tired of that. We don't want that anymore. I mean, this guy goes out of his way because he knows it's competition to him. He goes out of his way to slander his competition because he knows his little glass castle's crumbling that he's, still clinging on to. So comments like this, I think, are great. Even though it makes the right look bad maybe a little bit, it makes Ben Shapiro look bad. It makes him look like out of touch, elitist, establishment, which he already kind of did, but this sort of is like, this drives in hard. I think this hurts him among his quote unquote base. He'll probably still have a cult following for the rest of his life, but hopefully, this wakes people up a bit more. Or even people that are just joining the movement will wake them up. This guy is a total, just,
He's a snob. He's an elitist snob. Like, here's the thing, like, Ben Shapiro, like, I can't stand his personality. I can't stand a lot of things about him, but, he is a smart guy and he's a damn good
he
debater.
isn't actually. No, I'm gonna go out and say I don't think he's that smart. I really don't think he is.
I mean, to be
He
fair,
just talks
wrong.
really fast. He just talks really fast and doesn't give you enough of time to fucking answer back. Like that, that's what I think. I think he talks so fast.
Yeah, and I think he has some debate skills, but it's when he's with people he can easily beat. If you threw him up against somebody a bit tougher, I think he'd have a little harder time keeping up. And the other thing too is that he's wrong about everything. Like literally everything. Every prediction.
I mean,
he's always been wrong
a lot
on.
of things, but
I mean, he's I don't know.
I'm talking about predictions though. In terms of policies,
I don't want to defend him at all, but
I'm not gonna.
he thought Trump would lose. He
I mean, a lot of people thought Trump would lose. Okay,
but it's a consistent pattern for him. There's a bunch of other things that he predicted wrong that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but you can find them. Trust me. He's always
he really
wrong.
does. There's like it's like at first he was right because he is a fairly good, like, he knows at least, even if he doesn't 100% know what he's doing, at least he knows how to debate. I think that's a fair assumption. Even if he doesn't know what he's doing, at least he knows how to debate. That is the one surefire thing he does know what to do. But the longer we've gotten to know him, the more of a fucking an elitist corporate fucking shill, Republican establishment shill we've seen him to be. Like, he's shown himself to be this elitist shill, and like this last fucking quote, that, like, a lot of people are gonna fucking a lot of people are gonna flip him off for that.
You notice how he also was basically, I'm gonna say basically for the little bit provocativeness of what I'm gonna say, he was campaigning for Yang on his Twitter. You notice that?
Yeah.
He was.
I don't pay attention to his Twitter.
He was a supporter, cheering him on from the sidelines. He was a Yang cheerleader.
Well, to be honest, Yang had no chance of winning.
Does even Ben know that? Does he even know that? I mean, honestly,
I think Ben knows that. And he knows that Yang is dividing the left. Because he has no chance of winning. He's like the Bernie Sanders. He has no chance of winning. Like, at least Bernie Sanders in 2016, maybe not now. But he's probably the most moderate, like, surprisingly, out of most of shit that the
I could see. Okay, I could see, and we've talked about this. I think we've talked about this once or twice, but like, I could see Ben Shapiro in the future. I could see him going liberal. I could see him, or not going. I could see him going
independent.
I could go. Yeah. I could see him either going independent or going like Jeff Flake. I could see him going like Jeff Flake, where he's Republican but not really Republican. Big fucking rhino.
Well, I think he's just an opportunist. I think he's really just in for the money and power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see him flipping. I definitely could see him flipping in that he could go, oh well, I didn't realize
Or the party has changed. It's not what I
Yeah.
intended it to be. It's not what it started off to
Yeah.
be. It's Trump's party now. Nah.
I could see him going like libertarian or something.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I could see it.
Well, like he's like flip flop. He used to be like the biggest like anti guy. Now he's like supporting it or something.
Kind of. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but it's like.
Well, like, oh yeah, I saw him like he doesn't want to be illegal, but he doesn't like it. Which I mean, that's a fair enough observation. But it's funny because if you listen to him like a couple years ago, he completely fucking flip flopped on his whole positions.
Yeah, he's a snake. I can't stand him. I mean, I would love to know what he's like behind the scenes, what he's really like. I'd be
Or like
interested.
4'10".
What was that? Okay.
Or like 4'10".
Okay, that's a bit that's a bit of a tall order right there. I don't think he's reaching those heights. But
Probably got like a Napoleon complex.
yeah, honestly.
He's
We
probably
got
got a big car. He's probably got a big car. I think he has a big car. Have you ever noticed?
Small
have you
guys,
ever
big
noticed
cars.
Small guys, big cars, and the exact opposite. Like
to be fair, like a lot of SUVs and trucks, like my aunt, she was like 4'10", and she had trouble sitting in this Lexus. It was like a
You can't
LS 300. Yeah, like she couldn't. But my uncle's SUV, which is pretty big, she had no problem sitting in it because you can adjust the seats, like the height of the seats, which was ironic. Like it was easier for her to fit into the big car, the big SUV, than the little coupe. Yeah, that's
Little deuce coupe.
there's a So there's a story. There's a story. We had a. I was with a friend, and a friend got into it. Friend got into a little fender bender.
Stop talking about me. I'm
No.
kidding. I'm
Got
kidding.
into a fender bender.
I got into a crash.
with a Ford Festiva. If you ever see them, like really small cars,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. So he was pissed because this was it was an SUV. He's like, man, I'm gonna fuck this dude up, right? And he's like, oh, I'm like, oh my god, right? And then and so he's like screaming at it. He gets out of the car, slams it. He's like, get out of the car, motherfucker. And then and guess what?
What?
The dude that came out of the car was this huge fucking dude, right? Out of a Ford Festiva. He was like 6'4", ripped to the fucking max. I'm like, oh, I thought you were gonna fuck him up. What happened? And he totally pussied it out, like, oh, let me just get your information. We gave him shit the whole fucking trip back. Like, oh, we thought you were gonna fuck him up.
Dude,
Oh, you showed him.
I've seen that before. We had this kid in high school who had a muscle car, and this guy, and it was ironic, or not a muscle car, a smart car.
Oh
This
no.
dude's name was like Muscle or something. Was his last name. This dude had no muscle on his body. He was like a freaking whale, and he would go in like, I don't know how he fit in that smart car. Must have been like, you ever see Dr. Hoover's like bigger on the inside than physically possible? Like this guy would shove himself in there, look like a freaking clown.
It's like that tent in Harry Potter where they go inside. It's like huge.
Yeah. Then like my brother, he did the same. Not a little man by any means. It's just like, what the heck is up with these people? They do shit like this, but then you get these like little guys in big cars. It's just like,
well, it really is clown world if we have
the
clown
grossest
cars.
thing. The grossest thing I've ever seen, though, there was some dude like there was some dude in DC. He had like the original Tesla model.
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
And
the Roadster.
you know how like
It's a Lotus,
the
technically.
original was like there wasn't much space in it, right?
Yeah, because it's based off a Lotus.
Right. So this guy was a chubby piece of shit, right? Real chubby, right? He had what he did to navigate that was he had this piece of plastic that he put on his stomach so that way he was able to steer the wheel. Because if he didn't have that piece of it was a piece of slick plastic, right? It was a piece of slick plastic so that way he could turn the wheel without it rubbing up against his fat belly,
So
right?
he like wore a corset basically to drive.
It was so disgusting. Like, oh my god! And then when he got out of the car, he had this round off-ish piece of plastic that was basically stuck to his stomach. I'm like, you disgusting motherfucker! Like,
Oh my god!
oh my god, it was so nasty. Ugh. Yes. I shouldn't have. It still haunts me to this day. Like,
You have PTSD from it.
know your limitations. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Know your limitations.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh my god! I wonder what that smelled like. That little piece of plastic. If you ever took it for a wash,
oh,
I doubt it. Oh
Dude,
my
it was.
God. I suppose like piss and sweat just after like weeks.
jizz.
Oof.
That's right, yeah, because it was one of those things. Look at it, and you look at it. This is chubby dude, and I'm like, and I look at it. I'm like disgusted. I'm like, oh, how the fuck is he even turning the steering wheel? And then he gets out of the car, and I see this plastic thing, and it's not attached. He doesn't attach it to his belt. It's stuck on his fucking stomach, right? It's stuck on his stomach. Like he took it off of his stomach, and because it was stuck, and he had like it was so I was.
Well, how was he turning it though? How was he turning
Wait,
it?
what, did he have it like under his shirt, or just not wear a shirt?
No, he had it. Yeah, he had it over his shirt, but the piece. It had ridges, and the ridges were stuck to his fat and his stomach. And it was, yeah. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna throw up.
How was he turning it though? Was he just like twisting
No,
himself?
because it was slick. The little round plastic thing was slick, so that way he could easily steer it because it was sliding on the slick part. Of the piece of
Oh, I
plastic.
see.
Well, how
Okay.
does
Yeah.
he like discover that? It's just like, oh, did like Tesla make this part? It was like not a corset.
No, this
No,
is
I don't
an
know. I don't know what
option.
it is. Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy to me, and it was like, and it was stuck on. He I don't want to say peeled it off or something
Oh.
like that. Like it's so
Probably
disgusting,
was
and you see
peeled.
the sweat, and you see the sweat from fucking plastic. I'm like, oh, you disgusting bitch, dude. Ugh.
What was his name?
I didn't ask him for his name. I was like, yeah.
Dude, you
What do
should.
you think? Oh, you're disgusting. By the way, I'm Philip. Nice to meet you. Like, what the fuck?
No, I thought you said this was a friend.
No, that wasn't. No, I told you the most disgusting. I was on my way to I was on my way to a seafood restaurant too, which was even worse.
You lost your
right?
appetite.
Like, yeah, I'm like, oh my god, because it was like, oh, I like oysters or whatever. But so anyway, I went to this place, and it was a little pricey. So there was going to be some people that had like nice cars or whatever, and that's fine.
Okay.
But no, this is like this chubby dude in a really small car. And, oh my
Okay,
god.
the context makes a bit more sense now. I thought this was somebody you knew, because this had
No.
detail, and maybe it's because it's just
This
such a
was like-
horrifying incident that's stuck in
But
you.
it was like they tried. Okay, so then what was it? The aesthetics were just so bad because it was like he tried to impress people by driving this $100,000 car, but he's a fat garbage slob that uses a piece of plastic to steer it. Like, oh my god, it's so nasty. Oh my god.
Maybe he was trying to go and pick up some sugar babies over at the restaurant.
Oh yeah, that's how you
Like,
do it.
oh what, yeah.
Like a blind one. I want to see that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, I've seen some crazy shit with cars though, dude, but nothing.
No, Helen
Nothing
Keller could have seen how disgusting this fuck was. No.
And
Oh
Stevie
my
Wonder.
God. Yeah.
Dude, the most strangest one I think I've ever seen. I was at Golden Corral. There's this place in Maryland called Perryman. It was supposedly haunted or something. Me and my buddies used to go around there. We went to Golden Corral one day afterwards. It was open up till like midnight. And we were in the parking lot. We see this guy in a Dodge Magnum with it must have had 20-inch rims that are shaped like snowflakes. This fat dude comes out in a red shirt. And this was like probably in October or something. He has this long beard, looking like fucking Santa Claus. This like pimped out Dodge Magnum with 20-inch rims and what was it, like Lambo Gullwing doors that lift up like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most fucking crazy thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I got another story for you. We just said fuck it. Now we're doing stories, I guess.
Yeah, I like it. This is funny.
But so there's a place. I hope they don't sue me for saying this on YouTube. But
so this is what's gonna put us under.
Nah. What? Oh yeah, this is gonna put us under. All the fucked up shit we've said over the years. Yeah, this will be the one that fucking.
We said at the beginning of the show. We said it's gonna be the little thing that gets us. It's not gonna be the big
that's
thing.
true. Then anyway, okay, we're regressing here. There's a place there's a restaurant in Las Vegas. I want a restaurant. That would be giving it too much credit. Called the Heart Attack, right?
I've heard this place.
It's
I've heard this
called the Heart
place.
Attack. So it's a hamburger joint.
It's a bit more than that.
Right. So I don't know if they still have it. It's been a couple of years since I've been to that particular spot. But the last time I went, they had this thing. Like if you're over 350 pounds, you eat for free.
Why would they have that?
Dude, it was their thing. It was their thing. Their shtick. And like they had they have the waitresses, they're dressed in like nurses outfits, and they write you a prescription for hamburgers or some shit. Like, whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I've crazy.
seen this. This is so funny.
So the last time I went in this place, the burgers were pretty good. But anyway, there was one really obese person, like really fucking obese person. And it was like he had what looked like a hospital gown, like a really large hospital gown. I'm not sure if he had pants on. I wasn't looking to investigate the situation at all.
Fair.
But he had like a muumuu or like a hospital gown. It was like, and he had this. It had to be the largest walker I have ever fucking seen in my life. I was like, what the fuck? It was like the dude was relative. I mean, he's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe. I'm thinking somewhere like he was tall. He definitely tall, but he was big. He was big. And so what they did was, so they have a scale to prove that you're over 300 and some pounds to make sure you get to eat for free. They didn't like, he's like this dude's a fucking regular, right? This dude's a regular. He's like, hey, I'm here.
He probably knows everybody's names.
I forgot what the fuck his name. They knew it. Like the cooks and everybody, they fucking knew him by name or whatever. And he's just like, and he's using the walker and he's going to the seat and he's like winded already. He's using the walker and he's fucking winded already. And he's like, as he's using the walker, I'm like, oh my God, this dude's gonna die before he even fucking sits down. Like, yeah. And it was like, it's just so disgusting. But I've never seen somebody so winded from walking that like spit and snot started flying out of their nose and mouth. Like, oh, like, oh, like, oh my God. Can somebody help?
Wait, was that the end of your story?
I was like, could somebody fucking put him on The Biggest Loser and save his life or some shit? Holy fuck, man.
How's that place not getting sued? Like, how's no one like gotten a heart? Like, you know, this is kind of predatory.
I think they make you sign away. I think you make you sign a waiver for that shit too.
And you have to vote confidence.
Right. No, because they're like, oh, they want to make sure that you don't sue it, so it makes you sign a waiver for being over 350 pounds and eating for free. I'm like, dude, this isn't worth. I don't care how good the burgers are, man. That was a traumatizing situation.
Well, that's why you need to pick a window seat so you can just sort of look out. And
no, there's nothing. fucking huge. You could, dude. Stevie Wonder could see how disgusting this shit was. Like, yo, like you could see it from the, you could see that shit from the kitchen. It's like, what the fuck? And you could feel it too. Like you could feel like when he stepped, it was like you could fucking like feel him taking steps. It's like it's
The
almost
ground
like
was shaking.
like yeah, like it was like it wasn't like it was shaking, but you could feel like you could feel the
You
steps.
feel the
It was
force.
like it was like, good God, I was like,
Wow. Well, I actually do have a little story. It's not particularly funny, I guess, but fat people kind of triggered in me. When I was at a hotel recently, and we were in like the lobby where they had like an area where they served you food when I could order, and yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm eating, and it's all pretty casual. And I look over at the people. There's not many people, but there's this one group with these two ladies, and they're both huge. I mean, their like arms were like a foot long. Like, you know, the thickness of it was like a foot. And I'm probably under exaggerating. That's how big they were. And they're just like sitting there, and they're, you know, they ordered some food, but the one didn't eat a lot. She was like full. I'm like, yeah, you're full of a lot, I'll say. But I forget what their conversation was talking about, but they had like a little kid there, and he was there and sort of chilling out and being kind of shy. So she started kind of trying to talk to him. I think she was the mother, but then once the other one came over,
She's not pregnant. How does that even work?
Could
a guy even like last long enough if he's like,
yeah, it was a force injection there. I don't even know how it could have happened. I'm assuming it's her kid, but it is important to the context of
I
this.
just ate the parents.
Yeah, that's a good movie tale right there. But
the kids.
yeah, exactly, that's what I was thinking of. But she was talking to her friend, and she was like going off, and she had like a little tone in her voice that was all kind of like, and she was like, well, they all say that it's gonna be like, bad not having a man in your life, not having a husband, but you know what? I'm doing just fine. You don't need a man in your life. It's great. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you piece of like, I could think of every bad word at that moment, because like, if that's her kid there, she has a kid there, and she is proud that she's screwing up that kid's life, because that's what she's basically saying. She's proud she doesn't have a man life, which means she's proud she's going to screw that kid's life up. She's proud of it. This is what feminism has done. It's hurt women.
Feminism's an obese kid who probably ate the father. An obese mother ate the father, and it's just like raising the kid, probably using the welfare money towards like Hot Pockets and Cheetos.
Yeah, I mean, they're in Washington State, so maybe they have a lot of money. I don't know, but like, man, dude, it was like one of those things where, like, you hear this stuff, it's out there, or like you think it's out there, but you kind of have doubts, like, yeah, maybe it's not as bad as people say, but like, I literally saw what people have been saying has been happening, and I'm just like, oh god, this stuff people say has real facts.
Yeah, but yeah, man, dude, that's some pretty funny shit. Dude, speaking of fucking stories, dude, I watched some movies this weekend.
Oh
Man,
yes,
dude.
fill us in.
Dude, it pissed me off. So, I don't know if you guys watch Netflix, but I guess they released their next rounds of movies, like, or whatever shit, this past couple of days.
Yeah.
They did, what was it, the Rocco's Modern Life, like, movie. Well, it wasn't really a movie, it was like an hour-long, like, extended episode, and they did one for Invader Zim. And it's ironic because both of these were, like, good shows that I watched when I was growing up. And they were completely opposite in terms of like quality. I'll give it the kind of synopsis. There's probably spoilers ahead, but I mean it's on Netflix, so if you haven't seen it, just watch it. But I'll tell you what, I was fucking pissed because I go and I see the Rocco's Modern Life. It's gotta be pretty cool, but no, it was like the first like half the movie is just like them showing like it was kind of memifying like 21st century life. Like, oh hey, there's a Snapchat and there's a cell phone and look, they have food trucks. Oh cool, that was like for the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then it goes on, and then it gets to the point. There's like I don't remember who these people are because I haven't watched the show since like I was a kid. But the whole premise of it was like, they're looking for this one person to go and make this other television show within the show, kind of like meta for some reason. And then they go and look for it, and they can't find the person, and they end up finding this person in a fucking ice cream truck. And the person decided to get a sex change since the last time you've seen them.
What?
And that was like the whole thing. Yeah, so like the one, I guess it was the big heads or the fat heads, their son is now a daughter. And these people, they were in space for the past 20 years, so you expect them to have some sort of reaction. It'd be like, because back in the 90s, someone gets a sex change. That's a pretty big deal. Like, it didn't really happen back then. And they're just like, oh, that's cool. And they show the parents, and they just kind of like make fun of like the dad for making a big deal about like, oh, you're a terrible person because you're upset that your son's a daughter now. And it's just like, yeah, they made like that. That was probably the whole point of the show is like, oh, you're a terrible person for if you think that transgenderism, you don't just blatantly accept it. You just think it's, if you have any problems with your kid becoming a woman, then that's a problem on you. And then the second thing of the show too, because like it was also making fun of Rocco for wanting this TV series like re-released, because when he went off into space, he had this one show, and after he left, it was done. So it's kind of making fun of the viewer for even wanting to watch a special. It was like,
Jesus,
who does that? Like, they're making fun of people like in a sort of twisted way for wanting to watch Rocco, like the Rocco series. And I was just like, this is shit. And everything else was just kind of like, it was stupid and gimmicky. But that part just really got on my nerves. The transgender stuff in a kid's show. I mean, Rocco, they're always kind of pushing the edge with like adult content and stuff in there. But, they didn't really need to do this stuff. It just felt kind of forced. But then they decided to go and do that. And it was just, what are you doing with that? But then the very good one, it was actually good. Nothing like that bullshit. There was no transgender issues in there. It was just Invader Zim. I thought it was great, but damn.
Yeah, well, I think it's all like a lot of it is just like progressive conditioning. It's really like because we always talk about like the movies and the shows and social media and all that stuff. It's like, well, why don't they give a shit about actual content? YouTube, right? Why are they pulling away from like a lot of the independent content and all that stuff? It's like it's by design, dude. It's all liberal conditioning. Like, they're trying to condition these kids and these teenagers that are like young and vulnerable. They're trying to condition them into thinking this crazy shit. Like, and this is what we have. And I maybe it's all the foreign money that's going into shit like Netflix and the social media sites and the news sites and all that stuff. And like, but I mean, we are living in a fucked up world right now.
Fucking like, and it's been going on for years. So it's like, this is like that Rocco thing. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You go and start looking at what's currently on the shows. Like, they have like blatant like gay and lesbian kisses in kids television shows. That what was that one, that Cartoon Network one that's really bad, the with the crystals and shit. Trying to think of that one's name.
No, I think it was Steven Universe.
Yeah, it's like with a fat kid who hooks up with these like lesbian aliens.
What the?
Like, it sounds like something that Alex Jones would go and like make fun of, and people think he's an idiot. But they actually have shows about like kids who get in the back of this like old guy's van and like basically have sex with aliens. Like, it is beyond ridiculous. And the person who wrote the show wrote like pornographic like Rule 34 content for Ed, Ed and Eddie, and that was her fame. Like, so you basically have a pornographer writing kid shit,
Oh God.
like a progressive pornographer. And there was like, anime. They made this person animated Ed and Eddie gay sex content, and they're the ones in charge of your kids' viewing habits. They're making shows that your kids watch. It's just disgusting. Like, why are they doing, like, I know why they're doing this, but why do we as a society allow this?
Because it's
You know?
progressive and you accept it.
Like, is it just because boomers and stuff and like the parents don't pay attention to what their kids
Yes.
are watching?
Yes, that's actually really it. The problem I've noticed with millennial parents, and that's who the parents that would be showing their kids these things, is they are so hands off. It's insane. Like they're just like, it's not my job to do this, or if the kid does this, oh, that's okay. Oh, he stabbed himself with a pencil, he'll learn. It's like they don't want to do the job of parenting. They don't want to teach their kid anything. They don't want to do any work. They will just throw their kid an iPad because that'll do it for them. They'll throw them an iPhone into their hands rather than do parenting. It's terrible.
Yeah, why do you think that Momo thing was such a big deal? It's because parents are like, oh, here's YouTube Kids, just go and have fun with it. And they don't understand that YouTube Kids is not curated. Like, there's a reason why people pay like $15 a month for like the Disney Channel app or whatever it is.
Disney XD, I think.
Because they curate that shit. Like, I love YouTube. I'm thankful YouTube exists, but I would not give like a 5-year-old kid access to YouTube.
Yeah, same.
Like, there's so much shit that they can do wrong. Like, see, when I was like a real young kid, my parents, they did a lot of things I didn't really like about it, but I was not really able to even access the computer by myself until I was like 9. And even then I was too stupid to know how to go on any of the good stuff. So I was mostly like playing RuneScape and shit. Which I'm still doing, but
literally.
literally, but like no, it's but these days it's just so easy because everyone has iPads, like library, and like they have it's like half the things the kids do in there is like they have educational iPads, but I wonder how much you really harden this stuff down over there. It's so easy to find like just disturbing content now. It's not, you just go on the internet, you can go and look for all these things. You end up finding like a YouTube challenge telling you to light yourself on fire or drink bleach or eat Tide Pods. And the parental figures of today, they're not smart. And like the kids don't have common sense either. They'll go and they'll listen to Momo. They'll drink bleach. They'll light themselves on fire. They'll jump into like a puddle head first because they think they saw like some guy on YouTube jump into a puddle. It's like kids are they're just so impressionable.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And like boomers and millennial parents, I think just stuff because a lot of them, they could have been like gay or trans or something. They're like, oh well, this is cool. This was edgy. My parents didn't like that. And they bring this stuff into kids, and that's why you're going to start seeing like a reaction when they see all this content over here. The next generation, they're going to be the exact opposite. They're going to be completely totalitarian because they'll be like, oh yeah, my parents, they did not do a very good job parenting. They did this and that. And they decided to go and like wait till they're 40 and have kids, which is why I have whatever disorders I have, because they didn't have kids until they were 40.
Well, yes, so that's the problem. Is like, I say maybe the boomers or Gen Xers were a little too strict, but now the millennials are too lazy. They're too lazy. They don't want to do the job parenting. That's where you're getting all these problems. I mean, it's just, can we find a reasonable, happy medium?
Dude, Gen Z is going to be like the right wing one. That's what I was told. Like, there's a lot of right wings and Gen Zs.
I've heard that, but like, I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Dude, you'll see it. You'll see it, man. Like the millennials, like it's always, it comes in cycles. Like one person will do something too stupid one way, they'll go the other, and we haven't had like a good world war in a while. I think that's the solution to all these problems. We need to have like World War III. Just send them out there, start drafting people, and then you'll see how far all this like social justice crap starts going once you have people on the trenches. Once you have people, dealing with all this other bullshit instead of worrying about their bathrooms. you know, they're like transgender bathrooms because you know what? When there's no bathroom, everyone pisses in the same place. You know, they don't have like Phil. You know, do they have transgender bathrooms like on the field in the military?
I mean,
They have a transgender porta potty out there.
you know, I when I left when the like when the whole like right before the whole transgender thing started
Oh, you lucky.
popping up out of the gate. Like, I mean, there was, you know, there were, you know, there were homosexuals, and that was when, you know, Obama allowed them to be openly gay in the military and whatever. And that's, you know, fantastic, whatever. But like I left before the the transgender boom, I guess. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, they have bathrooms. Like most of the time, if you're in the field, you have porta potties, and if you can't go to the bathroom in a porta potty, then you're fresh out of fucking luck. I don't know what to tell you. Um, and if you're, I don't know. I've always been against that shit too. I don't know how I really honestly don't know how they make transgender work in the military, because it's like, right, yeah, because it was like, well, I mean, if you're pre-op, then I guess you do whatever you did when you have whatever you have. But like the post-op, there's always like there's like a medical maintenance thing that has to happen. That's like, I don't know, it's like a little extra that kind of, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of that. And people were always like, I know they when I first got to Penn State, I took this business corporate social responsibility, and that was like right when Donald Trump was like, and that was right when Donald Trump did the transgender ban or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was like, and I'm like, well, and everybody was like, and the corporate social responsibility, he's a liberal professor, and like, but I was like, well, it's a nuanced discussion. You know that, right? And he was like, how is this a nuanced discussion? If somebody wants to sign up and put their life on the line, they should be allowed to do it regardless of what they're on. I'm like, not everybody gets that opportunity, dude. I'm like, look, there's, I mean, if anybody wants to, that's great, but there's standards. There's physical standards, there's medical standards, there's, you know, there's a lot that goes into whether somebody can actually be in the military. They have ASVAB scores that like test how smart you are, like whether you could be in a particular job. Like they don't want no fucking cardboard chewers in the fucking, you know, flying planes. There's like, you know, there's legitimate shit there. Like, and like with the transgender thing, it was like I was always like pre-op, okay, that's fair. If you want to be a transgender and a pre-op, that's fine. That's fine, I guess. You know, because if you're gonna let homosexuals in, see what the big deal is. Pre-op, post-op, that's a different story, because you have, you know, you went through the surgery, and then there's medical maintenance that you have to upkeep, and there's there's medications and stuff like that, and you have to make sure that that's regulated. And to do that, you're making yourself non-deployable. And if you're a troop that's non-deployable, you're kind of fucking worthless. So, you know, there's that. And so I was never, I don't know. I was never really a fan of that. But of course, I think if I was in the military now, I'd probably be labeled a bigot and kicked out or whatever. But whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I
It's a
don't
different
know, like,
animal.
how
It's 2019.
how would they have time to go and like dilate themselves while like, you know, in the field? And, like, let's say in Iraq or something, like you were in there, like you said, like right in there, right?
Say that one more time.
You were in there when they were like allowing the gay people to be openly
Yep.
gay, right?
Yep.
Well, how'd that go? Like when you were in, like, you know, Iraq or something, or Afghanistan, where they did not allow that stuff according to custom. Like, how did that go with the gay people?
I mean, it wasn't that big. It wasn't a terribly big deal, but then again, like I was like my last deployment, I was in the medical field, so it wasn't. It was it was a little bit more of a contained situation than, say, combat arms or something like that, where if you're like in a group shower with a bunch of dudes and one dude gets a fucking erection looking at everybody else, like they could be different. Like, I don't know.
Gee, we
You know?
haven't had that at Penn State though, have we?
Well, like I was just thinking, like, if you're like, did they let you guys go like to the like when you were on in Iraq or something? Do you guys go like downtown or anything over there, or just stay on base all the time?
Yeah, we stayed on base most of the time. The only people that were allowed on base off the installation were people that had specific missions off base, whether it was like AOD, EOD, or MPs, or like if they were doing patrols or something like that. It wasn't a particularly significant issue for me anyway. But yeah.
That makes. Well, I mean, that makes sense, because like it'd be different if like you guys are base and like you had some two like openly gay people walking around like Afghanistan. That they probably would not appreciate, like the people living over there. They'd probably not be very receptive to that sort of stuff. And I can only imagine too, like a island themselves or whatever. They basically dildo themselves once a day to keep their wound closing, and then they'd have to get like shipments of hormones in every day almost, or like they'd have to have them available every day. And then you'd have to have, like, I guess, a quartermaster or something to keep track of that too, or the medical supply like administrator. I don't know what jobs they have, and like MOS people are in charge of like the medical supplies. And you have to add another thing to that for like the hormones.
It's a mess. It's a whole. Who wants to hear another story?
Yeah.
One more story, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight.
All right. So back in the day,
Young Phil.
young specialist myself. No, I'm not going to say my real name on this thing.
Well, you're
get the fuck outta
Dictator,
here.
Phil. We all know that.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was on staff duty, which meant you had to stay up and make sure that everything was recorded. If something bad happens, we would be like the first reported or whatever. And so it was a straight 24-hour duty. Anyway, so I got a call from my supervisor that day. It's like, oh, we need you to pick up somebody from this place, and the place was a gay bar, basically. So we need you to pick up a soldier
Alright.
from a gay bar. And I was like, pretty weird, but okay, all right, whatever. So drive into the city, drive up, right outside the bar. There was the dude that's on the sidewalk, and he was a cross dresser. Like he's a dude, but he had on chick stuff, which whatever, different strokes for different folks, right? So and you can tell he was kind of embarrassed to see me picking him up, but whatever. I was like, so come on in, whatever. It's fine. We'll get you back. No worries. I tried to make the best of the situation, right? So what was I gonna do? I was going, sidewalk. Look at that fucker. No, I was gonna be like that. No. So I was like, okay. So I was like, make sure you buckled in, whatever. I don't want to get a ticket, whatever. And as we were getting ready to leave, some dude another cross-dresser comes
Uh-oh.
out of the gay bar, right? And he's like, you better tell that piece of shit he's not welcome here anymore. And he's like all like, and he's like, you better tell him to stop sending me these fucking pics. And he shows me his cell phone of this dude's dick pics, right? Shows me, you better tell him to stop sending me his dick pics. I don't want to see this shit. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't want to see that shit either, right? Out of us two, I at least want to see that shit, okay? Like, I guaranteed, I at least want to see this shit out of us three, okay?
What was it abnormal?
What's up?
Was the penis
size?
abnormal?
I mean, I don't measure. I don't fucking,
Like,
it was a dick
didn't
pic.
look diseased.
It was a dick pic and it was disgusting. That is all I know. Okay. I didn't stop to fucking glance at its detail. Okay. The dick pic was disgusting. I didn't want to look at it. I'm like, look, dude, please put that shit away. Okay. Look, I'm sorry. Whatever happened to you in there, I don't know. I'm sorry, I guess. I'm just trying to take this dude home to the barracks. I don't know. I'm trying to this is an insane experience for me. And I'm trying to just get this thing done and over with. All right. And he's like, you better tell him if he ever comes talks to me again, my man's gonna kick his ass. I'm like, what? I don't know anybody. Like, what? I don't know anybody. Like, what am I? Who the fuck? First off, who the fuck am I gonna tell for whatever? Like, I don't do this. Okay, I don't do what y'all do. I don't do that. If y'all want to do this shit, great. I don't do it. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to do what the fuck I'm trying to do here. Please let me have a nice evening. And please let me drive. Please.
You didn't sign up for this. You didn't have this in your job description.
I'm like, dude, and I gotta tell you, to be honest, the ride back was the quietest fucking ride I had ever been on in my life. Because this dude was like, the dude was dejected. Like, he was just totally dejected. It's this high-speed soldier that's dressed in drag and just had his penis on a pic shown in front of the fucking driver. Yeah, it's just like, I'm not sure it gets as low as that, barring the pic being on Facebook or something like that. I would imagine. But like, look, and yeah, you could hear a pin drop in that fucking on the way back. It was incredible. Like, I never experienced anything like that in my life, and I don't know.
So were you basically like the Uber for the barracks?
Yeah, because like the whole point is to make sure that the soldier gets back safe, and sometimes they don't have a car, or they're too drunk to come home or whatever. So it's up to us to make sure that takes place. So
oh my god, dude, fuck. Oh.
Did you have any other funny stories of those sort of incidents over there, like as an Uber driver?
I mean, that was probably the most extreme.
Yeah, you can't top that.
Like, I had one where I picked up some dude in a club, and he was in the back alley taking a shit as I was up, like in the back alley. I was like, what the fuck I was screaming, like, what the fuck are you doing taking a shit, right? Get in the fucking car, all right? He's like, I'm gonna take a shit, and they kicked me out, man. Like, motherfucker. Plug it up and get in the fucking car.
Oh, did he at least wipe?
No, he just plopped and got up. Like, that was get up.
Wait. Was this the same car you picked the other guy up in?
No, it was different. It was same job, same base, different car.
Okay, good, because here's what I was imagining. Because you know, like when you get like a used car, and you smell those smells of a used car.
Well, no, he was.
Imagine if all of these smells, like from the gay bar, from the
It would have
booper,
never.
were
Yeah,
in one car.
I did.
You use air freshener, I hope.
Well, none of the things happened in the car.
I know,
like
but
none of the disgusting
but he
shit happened
didn't
in the
wipe,
car.
so like, okay, the scent like got on his clothes and probably like really got onto his underwear, so like it would fill up the cabin.
Yeah, I mean, I assume
It's like when a baby like
you know,
poops in their diaper and you take the diaper out, it's like the majority smells go, but it's
unless
still
it's
there.
unless it's diarrhea shit bomb. I'm sure.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know
it'll
what
be
his
all right.
load was.
I don't know. Look, it was.
Now, did you ever have it where like you'd be like where someone puked in the car or anything like that?
Yeah, we that happens every now and again because sometimes you pick up people and they're drunk or whatever.
Well, like, do you guys like charge? What they do when they threw up? Did you like charge them a cleaning fee? Like tell their like.
Oh, I got another interesting one. Okay, so the one I picked up this one dude from they're downtown. Actually, it was two people. So picked up two people downtown. One dude, he's like, "Hey, pull over, man. I know this chick. Like, just pull over." I was like, whatever. So I pulled over. It was a fucking prostitute, dude.
What?
It was a fucking prostitute. This dude was trying to pick up a fucking prostitute in my fucking vehicle, right? in the army staff duty vehicle. He was trying to pick up a fucking prostitute, right? He was like, "Hey," he's like, "Hello, honey." I'm like,
Honey?
"Hello, honey." Yeah, because they always say honey or baby, something like that.
Oh,
Just
God.
I don't know. It's like really disgusting. Anyway, and he's like, he's like, "Hey, I got." He's like, "Hey, I got 150. Will I cover it?" And I immediately drove. As soon as he said that shit, I was like, "I know that you're trying to fucking hook." Okay, not fucking happening.
Oh, that's where you draw the line.
He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got 150 to cover it." Like, oh fuck no. Drove right off. Like, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Fucker, what are you doing? You're trying to fucking get your hook on in the fucking car? What the hell's wrong with you?"
Oh, that you probably like turned on the loudest rock music you could, just like, "Yep, don't hear you, man. Don't hear, the music's too loud. Can't hear you."
Well, no, I was like, no, he was like, he was an asshole the whole way back too. He's like, "Yeah, you know what? You should just drop me off." Somebody else said I was pick you up, make sure you get on base, and that's exactly where we're going, right? We're not taking no hooker detour, okay? We're going A to B, right? A where you are to B back on base. And then I had to say this, shit to my supervisor, and my supervisor was laughing his ass off. Like, "Oh man, that's what I've never dealt with that shit before." I'm like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" Like, dick.
Oh, God.
Wait, so like, do you supervisor like reprimand these people for like trying to pick up hookers in the?
No. I mean, it was I did. So I feel guilty about this one, but like, with that one, I told one of my friends who was like a sergeant or whatever, and then he told his friend who was that guy's supervisor. So he ended up like, it ended up getting him in some shit. But like, and I didn't even say it to try to rat him out. I was like, "You wouldn't believe the shit that happened yesterday. Holy fucking Christ." And then he's like, "Oh my God, I gotta tell the sergeant. I'm buddies with the sergeant. Hold on." Like, oh shit. Such an asshole now.
So like, well, what's even the punishment for that? They get like court-martialed or something? They get like.
I mean, there was really nothing they could do
Honorable
other
discharge.
than there was really nothing they could do because it was basically like he didn't actually fuck the hooker. So
Darn.
there was really nothing.
What's the point?
Money
What, did you
wasn't
talk to her?
Money wasn't officially exchanged. So, yeah,
Uh,
money and
Oh, so you
services
sped
without
away when he was still
exchange.
in the car.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Oh.
he was sitting in the passenger seat talking to the chick who was outside the car.
I see.
He's like, "Hey, I got 150. Will that fucking cover it?" I'm like, "Oh hell no!" And immediately, as he said that shit, I drove off.
I thought what you did, which would still be funny, is he popped out, started the conversation. You're like, "Yep, booking
No,
it, not
he
getting
was
involved."
outside. He was hanging outside the. He was hanging. His head was outside the vehicle. Like he rolled the window down and put his head outside of the window.
Oh God.
He's like, "Oh, hey, baby, will $150 cover it?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no."
Jesus, dude.
God, well, it's cheaper than getting married, so.
I mean, yeah, but like, dude, you're like, like, if you want to go ahead and do that, get your own fucking car and do that. Don't be doing that shit. Like, don't put me in a bad situation
Well,
because
you
you're trying to
could
get your
have had
fuck on.
something to watch at least.
Well, how bad was like the prostitution prom on the base?
Well, I mean, it's prostitution's everywhere. I mean, it is the oldest profession, but I mean, yeah, especially look, some of these military bases outside of the military bases, it gets a little rough sometimes. It does.
Well,
Especially when payday, because you have like 50,000 people in one base. They're all got paid at the same fucking time, so the hookers are fucking convening outside of they have their own hotels and they stop at and shit like. But it's sad. It was in this case. It's like because like with a lot of with some of these guys, it's like they were at the club, they were trying to hit on every possible girl that they could to try to get it for free, and nothing worked. So it's like, fuck it, I'll try to pay for it to
So
at least salvage some kind of.
Did you notice like an incel prom in the army?
Well, I mean, it's so there's a little bit there. Honestly, there is a little, and because more so. Okay, I don't know if it's so much an incel problem as much as it is as much as it is like there's so many dudes there and so few chicks like on base. Like men outnumber the women, at least when I was there, by a fucking heap. So it was like, so yeah, the women that were on the base were like goddesses, even though they were like, some of them were like fives at best, but because
they're
it
the
was a
only
military
ones.
base, they're like, yeah, short supply. It was like, all right, this chick is gold. Like, no.
Were there? Okay, this is a weird question. This will be my last question. But were there any virgins that you knew of?
Of course. Well,
After.
and then we go on it like, dude. So we went. When I went to Thailand. I know we're going deep into this, but whatever. So when I was in Thailand, okay, I was out at we were out at a club, and I think I might have told you guys this story.
Yeah,
before,
you did.
But anyway,
this will be our last story, by the way, because we got to close.
So we went. So, the guys that weren't getting any started getting some in Thailand, right? Because American people are fucking are the bee's knees over there. So the guy, so we went to this club that was in Bangkok. There was a we were in the VIP area. We were overlooking the dance floor, right? And there was this dude that was completely all over this chick. And I mean, he was kissing her hard. I mean, tongue down the throat and everything. It was tonsil hockey battle 2000. And we were like, and we didn't think anything of this guy because we never saw him with any chicks. So we were like, and back when we're at our base, so he's like, we were cheering like, yeah, let's buy him shots, whatever, let's get him good and fucked up, and maybe we'll get him laid or whatever. So once he took a breath, he took a breath, because sometimes when you like kiss somebody for a long period of time, sometimes you gotta like catch yourself. So this chick turned her face around, and you could see her Adam's apple, right? You can see the Adam's apple, and we're all like, "Ah, just go!" Oh, and this was and of course he was a dick, so we left. We let him leave with it, right? We let him leave with it, like fuck him, right? So, but no, he was a virgin, right? He was a virgin. So if there's no genuine confirmation that anything happened, but if anything happened, technically his first time was with
Oh.
with
Do you
ship.
know what he did with it?
He wouldn't tell. Do you think that guy's
He
being
was-
honest? Like,
Sometimes
oh,
you can get signs. You can get
hard.
signs.
He was kissing her hard and getting very handsy.
Oh,
Getting
jeez.
very, very handsy. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if he knew, because he was like,
Or did he
because
not care?
eventually, if you get handsy enough, eventually, I'm assuming you'd feel some balls or something. Like, I'm assuming that at some point. But I mean, maybe he was okay with it. Maybe, I don't know. But the whole thing was like, it was. Ugh. But anyway,
God, those are some of the funniest stories you've ever told us. Those are great. I'm gonna make like a little separate segment. That's just great. Oh God.
deserves to be a masterpiece.
mhm.
Oh,
Work of
thank
art,
you
but
for your service.
Shakespeare ain't have shit on this.
Thanks for your service. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.